you are surprised to see me presiding at this Eucharist. I am surprised too. What is a diocesan priest doing, celebrating a Mass for this wonderful Jesuit, Father Glynn? When Father Bob Niehoff invited me to preside and preach, I was very, very grateful. And I think Father Niehoff did this because Bob Niehoff knew that Ed Glynn and Don Cozzens were friends. So just a word of introduction. I met Father Glynn when I was president rector of St. Mary's Seminary, and Father Glynn was president of John Carroll University. Bishop Hillel, about 4 times a year, called the college presidents of the diocese together. And so that would be the president of John Carroll, the president of Ursuline College, the president of Notre Dame College, and the 2 seminary rectors. So for a number of years, I met with Ed Glynn and the other college presidents, and got to know Ed Glynn in that fashion. And then when Bishop Hillel gave me permission to return to college teaching, Father Glynn suggested I apply to teach here at John Carroll. I think he kind of greased the path for me. So I'm very grateful to Father Glynn for inviting me to come, and grateful to have been his friend. But some of you here know Ed Glynn much better than I. Some of you here have worked closely with Ed Glynn for a number of years. You had day-to-day contact with this man. So I'm hoping that what I'm going to say about him will kind of ring true to your own experience. I found that as soon as I got to know Ed Glynn, his confidence as a person came through. He was confident himself, not in an arrogant sense, but he was really a confident man. And I think that confidence came from his trust that he was God's man, his trust in God. It was really a dimension of his faith. I think he learned confidence from his boxing days. Ed Glynn was a boxer, and I think you have to be a pretty confident person to get into the ring with another person. And so if you got to know Ed Glynn, you knew that he never ran from a fight. He didn't mind confrontation. He would listen, but he certainly would tell you what he was thinking. I also came to see Ed Glynn as a man that I would describe as fearless. He wasn't intimidated by people. He knew how to speak to authority. I witnessed that firsthand when the college presidents were meeting with the diocesan bishop. He knew how to speak to authority. And he didn't worry. Ed Glynn was not a worrier. He didn't take himself too seriously, but he took very seriously the responsibilities he had as an educator, as a priest, as a college president. But he didn't take himself too seriously. And he was a joy to be with. You knew what he was thinking, and he was interested in what you were thinking. He wasn't afraid to agree with you, nor disagree with you. And then I also think of Ed Glynn as a man who was remarkably free. And when I say that, I'm talking about spiritual freedom. I once read that we should come to know all the rules very, very well, so we will know how to break them. I think that can be said of Ed Glynn. He knew what was in the book, but I think he also knew when it was time to creatively break the rules. Ed Glynn was his own man, while being at the same time a man of the church. And that's not easy to pull off. He was a man's man, and And I was happy to call him friend, and I was happy to call him my brother priest. And we certainly enjoyed many, many good times. So we're here today to commend this Jesuit, this priest of the Society of Jesus, to God. I think that the communion of saints that has gone before us in faith, is glad to welcome Ed Glynn into their company, for his joy and his spirit of optimism, his realness is going to be a blessing to the communion of saints in heaven. And I hope we members of the communion of saints here and now will honor this man with remembering his goodness. I haven't said a word about his accomplishments as president of John Carroll. I think you'll find them on the back of the leaflet that you have in your hands. But we do salute him for being a successful president, for the addition to this campus that he made, which are considerable in the Dolan Science Center, the Dolan Center for Science and Technology, and the updating and renewal of Shula Stadium, successful capital campaigns, interesting work with faculty and staff and students. That's all true. But I want to say thanks to Father Niehoff for giving me this opportunity to commend to God Ed Glynn and to tell you people what a good friend he was to me. And I hope to hear from you later what a good friend he was to you.